Hey gang, it's Cherish from the Motley News, and I'm here with a new video concerning a serious topic, depression. You know, depression is pretty serious, and I want to talk about how we deal with it, how it's being reported and how it's being treated, and specifically how it affects the Black female community. I guess I should have done a video like this a while ago when I was in grad school and I was very depressed and anxious all the time, but I didn't have time to because I was in grad school, grading papers, writing papers, reading books, etc. Now that I'm out of school, I've got a degree, yay! The depression is still there. It's kind of lingering. And I have a feeling that it has to do with, now that I'm not in school, I don't have a routine anymore, and I'm kind of wondering, what do I do with myself next? So that's my issue. But I want to broaden the talk about depression to other Black women and how they deal with it. First, before I do that, I should probably drop some facts on you guys, some statistics. From the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC. They released a report, a study on depression in America in 2008. They broke it up in categories from age to sex to race and to location in the country. And what I found was that women apparently report their depression more than men do, which I don't think I'm very surprised by that, but it's a 4% versus 2.7%. I also found that Blacks and Hispanics were more likely to report depression versus white people, and that's a 4.0% respectively between the two groups versus 3.1%. And I also found that in the entire country, it affects southern states the most. And I'll put a map up there. So, the country is depressed. And mind you, this is a study from 2008, and if you think back to that time, what was the country going through at that very moment? We were going through a spiraling financial meltdown crisis, and we were all panicking, so we were all pretty depressed or anxious, and we had right to be because, money. So anyway, I want to talk about reporting versus treatment. Sure, Blacks and women are reporting that they have depression, but are we doing the best job of treating it? And there are reasons why we might not be, because I read that Black women are among the most undertreated groups of the nation when it comes to depression and anxiety. So we might be admitting to it, some of us, but we're not exactly going out of our way to seek help. And that's a problem. The reasons for that are many. We have a lack of healthcare resources. Our insurance may not cover it. We're working too hard. We can't find the doctor. We can't afford the doctor. And that can be a problem if it just comes down to the simple logistics of, can I afford a therapist and can I afford psychiatric care or drugs or medicine? If you can't, then you're out of luck, I'm afraid. Another reason comes down to shame and stigma. Historically, Black women are supposed to be very strong, and to admit to depression, which seems, trivial in our community, to admit to that would be, kind of silly. If your people have managed to get past the tribulations of slavery, how hard are your problems today? Well, you don't want to compare apples to oranges. We're not enslaved anymore, but shit, we do have problems. We have as many problems as the next group of people, and we do need to address those. Instead of seeking psychiatric help, because there is a distrust for shrinks out there. We kind of throw ourselves into religion. You can pray away the depression. You can pray to whoever to fix yourself. And I think that's fine. But I don't know if we can all rely on that solely. See, when I told my mom at age 24, I believe, that I'm in college and I'm depressed and I'm going to see a therapist, because those resources were there and for very cheap, she reacted very strongly and very negatively. She said, "Why are you telling a stranger your problems? That doesn't seem right to me. Why don't you just pray on it?" And I'm not a very religious person, admittedly, I'm not. And, if I'm not in the position to pray, I would much rather find a clinical licensed professional to talk me through. That's just me. And so there's just kind of this negative attitude towards seeking out mental health because it makes you look weak or vulnerable when you're supposed to be on top of your game. And this is, a lot of women deal with this, professional women or housewives or whatever. You have a responsibility, you have people who you're obligated to serve. Just do your job and get over it. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not necessarily the case. You do not have to just do your job and get over it. You can seek help, and that is fine. If you just start out with saying, "Hey, I think I'm depressed," that's kind of half the battle right there. Just saying it out loud. And it's okay if people look at you like, in a negative way. You might have to disregard them. You kind of need to take care of yourself. So I have suggestions for how I'm dealing with this right now. They might not be for you, but I do believe that it's time to open up the dialogue and actually talk about mental health within the Black community, specifically women, because if we don't, depression leads to anxiety because you're worried about, why am I depressed and when will it end? It leads to lack of sleep, insomnia, and when you're not sleeping, you're not on your game, you're eating more, you're not working out. I don't work out very much anyway, even if I am feeling happy. But these are things that kind of lead to, physical ailments in your body. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating right, that leads to heart issues, blood pressure that's raised, diabetes. All of this is linked to one thing to the next. And it turns out that Black people in America suffer from these things in a high number. And so if we're not feeling right in our heads, we're definitely not going to feel right in our bodies. So let's try to nip this in the bud. What I do to coast myself through this feeling of depression is I admit that I'm feeling depressed. And those around me know it. And I can talk to them about it in a way that's like, I'm not feeling up to it today, you guys. I'm just going to sit with my feelings. And they know and they understand. You can definitely talk to a priest, a pastor, a reverend. If you're into that, if you're a religious person, I think that's a good idea. You should do that. You should pray on it too. But that's not really for me. If you're praying on it, I do feel like, a trip to an actual therapist would be a great supplement. If you have a hard time paying for that sort of thing, there are places in your city, in your state, that can help you with low cost, low income mental health that you can pay for via Medicaid or Medicare or a sliding scale of cost. And I'm going to put a website up so you can search for something in your area. Some universities allow people from the public to come and visit, whether it be one-on-one sessions or with group therapy sessions. Not all universities do this, but some do as training for their own grad students who are, trying to become psychiatrists or psychologists. So that's something to look for. Be okay with the fact that you are kind of stuck in survival mode right now. You're not going to be feeling your best. So don't put more on your plate than you can handle. Be okay with saying no to people on occasion. Just say no in a Nancy Reagan way. If people are trying to get you to do things and you just don't feel up to it, or they're asking you to do more work than you're capable of doing at the moment, politely say, no, I can't handle it. Don't put more on your plate than you can handle. You might be just in survival mode right now. Getting out of bed, taking a shower, feeding yourself, those are your main concerns right now. And it's okay to admit that, it's fine. Take things little by little. Like, I didn't have any major plans yesterday. I told myself I'm going to read a book because it's been a long time since I've done that. I had a stack of library books that I keep renewing sitting in the living room, and I said, I'm going to read a book today. And then I ended up reading an entire novel in one day, and that actually felt good. It felt like I had accomplished something that I haven't made myself do in a long time. These things are very low stakes. Don't challenge yourself to do something extraordinary if you don't feel like it. Challenge yourself to do something rather small. And then make sure you congratulate yourself after you've done that one thing. You need to pat yourself on the back on occasion. All right? I don't have all the answers. I'm just telling you, basically admit that you're depressed if you feel sad. You can attach any type of word or phrase you want to it. I feel bummed out. I feel blah. But, admit it to yourself, admit it to those around you, and just tell them to be patient. You're going through something, and it's okay to go through something. Sometimes you just kind of have to ride out those feelings and deal with them slowly. But, check out the resources that I'm going to put in the description box, and get at me with comments. Like, how do you deal with your depressing feelings? Do you take medication? Because sometimes I do, and that helps. Do you take a walk around the block? Do you talk to your girlfriends? Things like that. Let's open up this discussion to women who are feeling this way and let them know that you're not alone in feeling this way. Until next time, hopefully I have something nicer to talk about. But until then, take it easy and peace out.